World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists in the deep state, the Pentagon, the State Department, and the national security industrial complex. One of the reasons I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war is that I was the only president who rejected the catastrophic advice of many of Washington's generals, bureaucrats, and the so-called diplomats who only know how to get us into conflict, but they don't know how to get us out. For decades, we've had the very same people, such as Victoria Nuland and many others just like her, obsessed with pushing Ukraine toward NATO, not to mention the State Department support for uprisings in Ukraine. These people have been seeking confrontation for a long time, much like the case in Iraq and other parts of the world, and now we're teetering on the brink of World War III.
What's going on, everyone? Sauce Kenny here today. We got some news. Biden apparently has has commanded the military to strike Hezbollah, if I said that name correctly. And this kind of makes me kind of want to think about reflecting over the past 4 years. And I want to bring you guys to a time of 2017 when Trump was president of the United States. And all the Democrats, all the liberals were screaming and screeching that Trump will lead us down the path to World War III. I'm sure you all will remember that. And I always found it funny now, 4 years later, we're in 2023, about to go to the new year. And Biden is doing a lot of stuff that essentially will bring us into another war, right? We already started with Ukraine. Now, we didn't pick that war. It kind of came to Ukraine, and, we're the world's police because NATO don't want to spend money on their own military protection. So they rather lease our military protection. This is why the military industrial complex is such an important facet to America's power in the world stage. But a lot of liberals don't want to admit that is the fact that we're such busybodies is why we need a big military. But at the same time, they're going to complain about why is our military expenses so big? Well, the reason why our military expenses is so big is because we have U.S. bases all around the damn globe. This is why. So other countries like Germany, who else? Other NATO countries can virtue signal and say, look, we don't spend any money on military spending. And then the same liberals in America will come out and point, oh, look, Germany doesn't have any military spending. Look how prosperous they are. Military spending is unneeded. Not realizing that they rely on our military to protect their borders. But then if we dare claim, if an American conservative dare ask, hey, we should put much of those resources in defending our own borders, then we could cut military spending, no? But, I digress. So it kind of makes me remember the time when this Corgi guy, and I try to find the video for it, and it seemed like it was hard to find the video. Like I try to find the video, and it says, "Hey, media players' request is failed." So I can't find the video. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe that's my mistake. Hey, I'm not going to sit here and assume, right? And this was a public feud. I think he's no longer in the Senate anymore. Trump wrote in a series of tweets on Sunday that Corker begged him for an endorsement, and he said no, and he dropped out, said he couldn't win without his endorsement. The president added that Corker wanted the Secretary of State. I said no, thanks. He was also largely responsible for the erroneous Iran deal, the same Iran deal that allowed Hezbollah or Iranian to support military attack. Sorry for the ads, guys. President Biden convinced Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, always say it wrong, 11th hour to nix a planned attack against Hezbollah days after the October 7th massacre over fear that it would trigger a regional-wide war, a news report stated, right? So Biden held the prime minister back. And look, I'm not making moral judgments. I'm not trying to tell you what's right or wrong here. I'm just saying hindsight is 2020, and we can validate that maybe that was one of the reasons why Biden had to order a strike on Iranian aligned groups after 3 U.S. troops were injured in a drone attack in Iraq. Now, this is catered. This is very core to the message that I showed you in the intro, that Trump was like, hey, these people know how to get us into wars, but they don't know how to properly get us out of wars. And you saw that with the Afghanistan thing that Biden was in charge of in his first year in office, right? They don't know how to properly take us out of a conflict without messing it up. And maybe it's intentional to justify more foreign intervention. Who knows? Because if you dare lay out a theory or speculation about why the U.S. do the things that they do, you get labeled a conspiracy theory instead of a critically thinking adult. I digress. But this message has been consistent throughout Trump's messaging for the year. I can show you. Here's a clip. This is more recently. This is 7 days ago. And it seemed like Trump knows the reality of what the hell's going on at the global stage. Let's take a look.
President in decades who didn't start a war. Instead, I got us out of wars and endless wars. And one of the wars I got us out of was a war against ISIS. We defeated ISIS. It was supposed to take 4 years, and I got it done in 4 weeks. Would you say that's good? Because we have the greatest military on earth. We have the greatest leaders, but not the guys on television. Not the ones on television. I'm the only candidate who can make this promise to you. I will prevent World War III. I will prevent World War III. Because our country has never been so unsafe. You know, you're talking about the power of weaponry today compared to the Second World War and the First World War. It's times 1,000. Most powerful weapons ever even thought about, ever conceived, ever built. And we can't have a world war. And we're closer to World War III today than we've ever been at any time in our history. And the word nuclear is being thrown around every single day. When I was president, we didn't talk about nuclear. You couldn't talk about it. It was a word that was banned. You couldn't talk. Now they talk about it every day. We talk about it. They talk about it. And we will keep you out of World War III. World War III is not going to be army tanks going back and forth, shooting at each other, boom, boom, an airplane having a little fight in the sky. This is the big stuff. And if it's going to be total obliteration, we cannot have World War III. We will keep you out of it, and we'll keep you out of it because of strength.
Honestly, I think this is this is one of the things that if Trump can message on this, and he has been doing that. He's been touting that he's the only president that hasn't gotten into any new wars, right? He, in the intro I showed you, you saw how he criticized, hey, these advisors, right? These National Security Council people, right? These people give bad advice that only escalates conflict, that only escalates war, that causes world war. And you see why Trump believes he's the only president that can stop or prevent World War III from happening, because he's like, oh, I'm not going to listen to these people. I make better foreign policy decisions than they do. They told me peace in the Middle East was impossible. I made it possible, right? And it shows the problem with our government today. It's not the politicians. Actually, it is the politicians we pick, because they seem to give responsibility to administrative states, three-letter agencies that weren't duly elected. And the politicians that we elected give their power to these things that it can autonomously operate without no matter who's in office. And I think this is why it's important that we need to start cutting out this bureaucracy out. The deep state is what us conservatives, that's what we call this racket that's going on in our government today. But I want to get more into the story because this is what we're here for. President Joe Biden ordered the U.S. military to carry out a retaliatory airstrike against Iranian-backed militia group after 3 U.S. service members were injured in a drone attack in northern Iraq. National Security Council spokeswoman Adrian Watson said one of the U.S. troops suffered critical injuries in an attack that occurred earlier Monday. The Iranian-backed militia Hezbollah, I'm not going to say the last part, and affiliated groups under an umbrella of Iranian-backed militants claimed credit for the attack that utilizes a one-way attack drone. Biden, who spent Christmas at the presidential retreat at Camp David, Maryland, was alerted after an attack by White House National Security Advisors Jack Sullivan shortly after it occurred on Monday, and ordered the Pentagon and his top national security aides to prepare response options to attack on air base used by American troops in Erbil, I think that's how you say it. Sullivan consulted with the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, Biden's Deputy National Security Advisor, John Feiner, who was with the president at the Camp David and convened top aides to review options, according to U.S. officials, who was not authorized to comment publicly and requested anonymity. So, this is the deep state, you know? I honestly, it's hard to like talk about this, but like you had an option to preemptively prevent some of this stuff by attacking Hezbollah in Lebanon, but you know, it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know foreign policy too well, and I admit, like, I rather focus on what's going on in my country, stuff that I have deeper context towards here. But it, to me, we're not supposed to be involved in any of this. Honestly, I don't know why U.S. troops were on the ground, and this is one of the conspiracy theories that us conservatives have, is that the fact that the reason why the U.S. wanted to get so involved with Israel is because they wanted our troops on the ground. Oh, we're not doing anything. We're just there for support. We're just there putting out, giving out rations and medical packages, and we're just helping out. We're just trying to maintain the peace. We're trying to get U.S. citizens out of the way. But we knew, hey, that can open us up for us to now have to get involved, because if one of our people get hurt, oh, we can't show weakness now, and boom, we're in another war. Right? And you know, one thing about politics, and I'm gonna end the video on this, is that you need to have a very long memory. Politics is mainly about history. Those who don't learn from history is doomed to repeat it. And I think the media and their little play and position in this is to memory hold a lot of things, so that way they can keep leading us down the path that they want us to go down. They don't want us to be like, hey, you said this guy would lead us in World War III, but it's actually this guy leading us to World War III. How you missed the ball? How you dropped the ball on this? How come you didn't inform us of how many wars Obama started in his administration, but yet you're here going at Trump and try to project him as the warmonger? How does that make sense, right? They don't want you to do that. So they try to memory hold a lot of things. They try to focus your attention on things they want you to focus on, so you can go down a certain path and a certain conclusion. And I think in 2024, this issue, if it continues escalating, I think Trump can really message on the fact that, hey, look, I can end this war. I can prevent this war, right? Look at my record. It speaks for itself. I know these national security hawks, they just want war to justify their own industrial complex. But this is not in the best interest of the American people. But hey, I'm just observing it just as much as you guys are. Let me know your thoughts about the war, about government interventionism. I would like to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.